Okay, she be gone every single night. Day and night on my mind, pushing you to vibe.
How's it going, everybody? This is Tyler Drabo. Hope you're having another great day, and welcome back to another video. Alright, so it's time for another edition of Random Thoughts. In this series, I talk about whatever is on my mind, whether it's something interesting in the world, a personal story that I want to share, or if I just want to rant about something. And for this one, we're going to be talking about modern day job hunting and why it should not require a degree or any prior experience to be able to get an entry-level job in your particular field. And this has been something that has been renewed in recent weeks and have gotten quite a bit of attention as well, especially with today's modern day era of job hunting. So I felt like I would take the time to discuss that a little bit here in this video. Nowadays, there are a lot of young college graduates that are trying to get into the field of their choice, whether it's in marketing or media like I am, or maybe even in engineering, or maybe even somewhere like in business administration or something like that. There are a lot of great young people that are coming out of college that are trying to find a way to get into their particular field, but at the same time, there are also those that don't go to college or may not have been able to graduate from college but had quite a bit of experience there in their particular field that they really want to get in there right away and see what they can try to do with it. Unfortunately, nowadays, entry-level jobs have to require at least two particular things. The first one, a bachelor's degree, and the second one, a little bit of experience in your field. And for that reason, I do not understand why jobs make these two requirements permanent whenever they are searching for new people for those particular jobs. It really should not require any of those particular requirements to be able to get into those jobs. Usually, it requires just a lot of luck, and more importantly, just enough skill to be able to succeed in those jobs, or somebody that's just willing to learn. You shouldn't have to force someone to be able to get a degree or some sort of experience to be able to get into a job like that. The first reason why I think this should not require a degree or any sort of experience is because of the amount of money that someone has to pay in order to get their bachelor's degree in 4 years or more. I mean, trust me, college nowadays is starting to become a hell of a lot more expensive, and unfortunately it's become a lot more unaffordable for some college students to be able to go to college and be able to get a bachelor's degree like I was able to do during my 4.5 years that I went to Union County College for an associate's and then to Kean University for a bachelor's degree. It should not take a whole lot of money to do this. There are a lot of students in this world that might take the time to do it so that way they can get into that field like I did, but there are a whole bunch of other students that are now taking the alternative, whether a vocational school or they just rather jump right into it, right in their particular work field. And unfortunately, there are some students that just do not have the affordability to be able to go to college money-wise so that way they can be able to get those jobs that they want to get into. Not only that, like I said, it takes so much money to be able to go through 4 years as well. You're going to be talking about a lot of student loan borrowing. You know, you have to pay back all those student loans, and because of that, that's a lot of debt that somebody's going to have to pay just so that way they can get their bachelor's degree. And by the time they finally do get into the job in their own field, they're already really deep into debt. And that's just a major problem that a student has to go through so that way they can be able to get their degree and get their particular job. And I just don't find that right whatsoever. Every employer that wants to find somebody for an entry-level job needs to be aware of their financial situation and what the student really is going through so that way they can get the field. I mean, come on. Like, literally, it doesn't require a degree to be able to get an entry-level experience nowadays. And I feel like that, you know, for somebody that really doesn't want to go into college, hey, at least get them something that can help them with getting that particular job. Or maybe like if they have it like as a hobby, or maybe something that they use as a skill, like they have that particular skill that they use at home that they are able to utilize so that way they can learn a little bit about their field. Hey, that can be good enough for them to get that job without a degree. I mean, come on, there needs to be some sort of requirement like that so that way somebody doesn't have to sit there for 4 years getting a degree that might not be worth it in the near future. As I said, college is starting to get a lot more expensive, and there are students out there in this world that just do not have the money to be able to afford to go to college. In other words, community college as well. They just want to get straight into it. And for that reason, I feel like that those students that cannot afford to pay that much to go to college, they should be at least given some sort of a chance to be able to get into an entry-level job of their choice in their particular field outside retail, so that way they can find a way to be able to succeed in their field. The second reason, like I said, it's because of experience. I mean, look, there's a lot of jobs that require experience, but that should mainly be for those senior level management positions, like the VP and director positions, Those positions require people that have been in this field for enough time that they should be able to get those jobs when they interview it without having any sort of problem. For an entry level field, it should not require some sort of experience whatsoever to be able to get a job like that. I mean, look, you have entry level jobs out there nowadays that require 2 or 3 years of experience so that way they can get that field. 2 to 3 years? Come on now, that is just not right. Not only that, there's no guarantee that any sort of internship or experience that they get in college as a student is going to be able to help them with getting that particular job. It's really just not fair because they're getting all of this experience there at college with all of those internships and all that stuff, and yet they end up being passed over because there's somebody that didn't get a whole lot of experience that ended up getting the job before they did. And I just feel like that creates an unequal divide as a result of that. It should not require somebody to get that much experience to be able to get an entry-level job. And that goes back to what I said before, YouTube, like I've done when it comes to making all my videos as a hobby. That can be one way to be able to guarantee at least some sort of skill, so that way you can be able to get that entry-level job. Look at some of their backgrounds, look at what they have been able to do outside of college, talk about their YouTube channel, some of their other skills or something like that. That could be good enough to be able to get an entry-level job without any sort of experience. It should not require that much experience to be able to get a job in their particular field. In my opinion, all they need is the skill to be able to do it, and more importantly, the willingness to learn to be able to get that position. I mean, look, there are a lot of people that don't have any experience that are still willing to learn something. Give them a chance, alright? They are more deserving, I think, at times of getting the opportunity to win this job because they know that even though they don't have that prior experience, they can find some way to be able to succeed in that particular job. So, hey, no experience, that should not factor right into a job search. Give them an opportunity, and I promise you, those people will succeed. Finally, the most important reason why I don't think it should take a college degree or any sort of past experience to get an entry-level job is because it just takes way too much time. Like I said before, there is no telling when a student is going to be able to get a bachelor's degree or how much experience they might be able to get just so that way they can find a way to get a particular job. This is not like any time in the 70s or 80s where they were able to just go straight in a job. In this environment, you are forced to have to sit there and go right to college and get that degree without knowing how much time it's going to take. And even after all of that, you can still end up stuck in some sort of retail position instead of getting your field after to college. And as a result, it may take a very long time, like I did. It took me between 6 to 8 months to be able to find my marketing job. It should not be taking that long to find a job whatsoever. And there are some students that are taking so long in college, maybe like 5 or 6 years because they took a gap year or something like that due to a personal struggle or anything else in particular related to college, that it really hurts their ability to be able to find a job. And as a result, it has really made it much harder for them to be able to get a job whatsoever. Sitting in college for a long time to get a degree only to take that much time to be able to find a job is just something that needs to be fixed. Back in the 70s and 80s, there was a time where students were able to go to college for a small amount of time and not only that, spend very little money on it, and they were able to get straight into a job right away after graduation without any prior experience whatsoever. There was a time back then they were able to do that without having to go back and get any of that experience, without spending too much time in college to be able to find some sort of in-school activity or internship to be able to learn the skills that they need to get that particular job. Here, you are forced to have to spend a lot of time to go. In fact, there may be some jobs where they may be forced to have to get a higher degree and even extra experience to be able to do that. It just takes way too much time, and it gives college students the feeling that they may never be able to find a way to get the job of their dreams. It really needs to be something that has to be fixed. Time is really on the essence for college students, and once you're out of college, there is a long gap between then and now to be able to find a way to get that job. And if you don't get it in a certain amount of time, chances are you may end up being forced to either go back to school or just completely give up on your dreams in general and just find some sort of job that doesn't require a degree in more of a retail field, and something that really I don't think college students really want to go into. I feared for my personality that was exactly where I was going to end up in. It should not take a whole lot of time, especially all the other factors that I just mentioned, position just so that way somebody can be able to get their degree and get that particular job. It just takes way too much time and a whole lot of money just to be able to do something like this. I understand need to get a whole lot of experience just to get into a particular position, but really should take more of a mid-level or a senior level position to require that prerequisite to be able to get that particular job. An entry-level job, it should not require something like a whole lot of experience to be able to get into that particular job. And it's something that I feel like really needs to be lifted at every other job, because otherwise you're just asking too much for those students that are trying to get in but are struggling to get that particular experience. The job market today is just really tough to go through because there are a lot of jobs that need to be filled, and a lot of jobs that require somebody to have spent a lot of time in college and have a particular degree like a bachelor's degree or something up that, and to spend a lot of time with getting internships and experience like that, so that way they can be able to get that job of their particular dream. And there's really a lot of businesses that require that nowadays. Unfortunately, it's just so hard to be able to do that in today's world. There are a lot of students that are looking to get an internship during college but struggle and unfortunately may not have been successful in getting them, and as a result it has left them hung out to dry. And so as a result of that, what does college have to do with this? I mean, look, you have to go to college, right? But there are some students that just cannot afford it. One, because of money reasons, and two, they may not be able to find a way to get an internship during college because they keep getting passed on. And not only that, there are a lot of them that don't pay them to be able to get that particular experience. And because of that, it really affects them once they get out of college. So it just feels unfair for all those students that are getting passed for internships and as a result are put in a bad position to be able to find a job in an entry-level field once they are out of college. It should not be that hard to find an entry-level job in this particular world. So in my opinion, a degree along with prior experience should not be needed for an entry-level job because it takes a lot of time, a lot of money, and more importantly, it just puts them in a much tougher spot once they get out of college. It should be a lot easier. Give everybody, even those that don't have an experience, a chance to succeed. And I promise you, even those that don't have a degree or prior experience, they may have more skills than you think they do and may have more of an opportunity to succeed in those particular positions than you think. I promise you, everybody, no matter if they have a degree or not, they have the skills and the willingness they need to succeed in those particular positions. So a degree and prior experience should not be needed. Give these people a chance, and I promise you, it will be a lot easier to find people to fill those jobs and be able to help them accomplish their dream of getting a job in their particular field. Otherwise, it is going to be a much tougher job market to get into. So with that being said, I want to hear your opinions on it. Those that have spent a lot of time in college but struggle to find a job, or those that are not in college that are trying to find a job in their particular field, do you think that it should require a degree to get in that particular field along with prior experience whatsoever? Feel free to let me know down in the comments and I'll be more than interested in hearing your opinion about it. Anyways, that's gonna do it for another video. I hope you all enjoyed it. As always, if you'd like to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when my latest video is released. Comment below for future suggestions for all my videos, whether it's vlogs, projects, challenges, or random thoughts like this one. You name it, leave it in the comments below and I'll do my best to make them. And as always, follow me on my social media. All the links are in the description below. That's gonna do it for another video. I hope you're all having another great day. And as always, I hope to see all of you again in another video very soon. So long, everybody.